people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So you're not going to have any influence over these people as a leader, and you are leading them on their health and fitness journey until they can viscerally feel that you give a crap about them. Yeah. And believe me, we're not at a point now, AI, not AI, automation, not whatever, all that stuff. Nothing replaces a true human being sitting down in front of you that really sees you and you know it. Right? Sure. That's the most powerful thing we can do. Matt, he's back.
2 days in a row, man. We're on fire.
All right. Well, it's part 2. I think we're going to do this in 4 parts.
I mean, I got to come back?
Yeah, 2 more times, at least. Or we'll just sit down for one sitting and shoot 2 podcasts.
Am I still a guest? When can I not be a guest?
You're not a guest. Like when they say, did you have a guest? I check no.
So I'm not in anything.
Basically. Like, co-host? I don't know what he is. You can be co-host if you want. You're like the Ed McMahon to Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Just laugh every now and then.
Just have the witty jokes.
Like, why is he here? Like, I don't know.
Exactly. I'm okay with it.
You're like, it's a great gig. Did you bring a dad joke?
I did. I'm going old school. This is back probably one of our first dad jokes. This is from one of my kids. How do you make a tissue dance?
I think I know, but I'm not gonna steal your thunder.
Put a little boogie in it. Still
Harper,
funny.
Good job, Harper.
Harper still got it.
I love it. She does, man. That's awesome. I had to read this because I got so much on my mind. But like, anyway, my girl said I'm the only one she's ever been with. Yeah. I asked her that. I'm like, listen, am I the only one you've ever been with? And she said, yeah. Everyone else I've been with is like a 9 or a 10.
That's pretty good.
And I'm like, okay, loud and clear.
That was a lot better than yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was pretty lame. I even almost messed this one up today. I almost started this podcast out the way I started the last one. I'm going to read our finishing statement in case somebody skips it. Plus, I want to ingrain this in your eardrums, which hopefully will imprint into your brain.
There you go.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're doing a 4-part series based on my talk at conference. This will come out after conference. This will be a review for you, those of you guys that were there. For those of you that weren't, this would be what we talked about. And the title is Currency, or Care as Currency, just meaning when you look at how we can protect our brand long term, we can outcare every other brand. That's based on the number of customers that are in our business and the way that we service them and the systems that we have in place, which is really what we're talking about today. But as Matt, as you've said many times before, you can't teach people to care. And so all the systems in the world won't work unless the impetus to apply those systems is caring enough about the people in front of you. Would you agree?
100%.
All right. I'm going to read it to you one more time, Matt. It's going to be super inspiring. Okay. Even the second go around. You ready?
Let's go.
The future of alloy will not be built on luck. It will not be built on quick wins or chasing shiny objects. It will be built on 1,000 small acts of care every day in every location from every owner and every team member. This is not our first rodeo. We've been there before. We've seen what works, and the businesses that win care more. So my challenge to you is simple. This week, prove it. Care so much it's obvious. Care so much it's contagious. Care so much you can't help but do the boring work every day. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you change lives. That's how we win.
Nice. It's better than yesterday.
I know. I'm working on my delivery. If you've seen this after conference, if I flubbed it, it's maybe I should have practiced more. All right. So in part 2, we're going to talk about mostly today just accountability sessions.
Yeah.
It's a mechanism that we have in the business that is set aside. It's a scheduled time. So it's a type of appointment you can book in our software for a time to sit down with a client and ask them how they're doing. It could be someone who has a weight loss goal. It could be a client who's suffering from a lack of motivation or a change in schedule, or they have a nagging injury that's popped up from pickleball, you name it, man. There's 1,000,001 reasons to conduct an accountability session. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's why you get a personal trainer, right? We say you come for a personal trainer for accountability and specificity towards whatever you're working towards.
Show me what to do so I don't get hurt and hold me accountable to do it.
Exactly. That's it. So everything we do is built around this. So from the nuanced stuff to small touch, hold you accountable, check in on you from the starting point session to then dedicated time, what we're talking about now, where I'm going to sit back down with you after I've already did the starting point session every 30 days to reassess what's going on with you. And like you already mentioned, it could be many different things, from next steps for weight loss, weight gain, performance in a sport, to work around your travel schedule, work around a nagging injury you had before you came, work around your change of work schedule. I mean, like, you name it, that's what it's for. And I can't tell you, like, there is very few brands, of any, that actually do this, that actually sit down for accountability sessions. So this is one of the biggest things that we have.
Yeah, biggest differentiator, and certainly differentiating us from a class-based concept where what we're essentially selling in those concepts is kick-ass workouts. I will tell you right now that is an empty claim. Best workouts in town. Okay. I've said it a million times. You could take me out in the parking lot right now and make me do burpees till I throw up my breakfast. Does that mean it's a great customer experience? No. Was it a good workout? I don't know. How are we measuring it? Based on effort? Based on vomit? Like, sure. Right? You win.
That biggest vomiter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done.
It's like, man, but that's at times what we think fitness is, and it's so not that. And so we have all these differentiators in our business. Certainly one of them being, take some time to sit down with your customers. It's personal training, right? Things that you might have handled in a one-on-one training session in the past because you just had so much downtime just to talk to one person, right? We have a structure for that, so you can still get that face-to-face time because it's that important. We're borrowing the best parts of one-on-one training and applying them in a small group setting, but it's still personal training in its essence, right? So here's a stat. Yesterday we quoted some statistics from a Bain Capital or a Bain consulting study on just consumer behavior. And here's one: 64% of people are willing to spend more on a brand that remembers them and offers a personal experience.
Wow. So
I would say, look at our 7 core tenets, which we won't get into today, but like, name within entering 10 seconds of the front door. That's why our spaces are the size that they are. So you can see the whole space. And when someone walks in, I can be like, Matt, how was your weekend? I can do that while still coaching 6 people, by the way.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's important. So people are recognized. And then personalized is like, do these people care about me? Are they giving me a personalized plan of attack based on where I am in my life and my challenges and obstacles right now? Part of that's the accountability sessions. Give you some examples. So if you look at the number one owner in our system of 180 something franchisees with 100 and now almost 120 open, right? The number one franchisee we have for retention is John Farkas. John Farkas also, not coincidentally, has the most accountability sessions on their schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want to tie something, again, light and intangible to hard numbers, you tell me how much money a new customer costs versus what a current customer costs, and how much profit if you just get them to stick around for another 6 months, right? That's anywhere from a 5 to a 30% profit boost just by having people stick around longer. So if you tell me accountability sessions aren't revenue producing, I'll show you why you're wrong. And I've got a full on study of numbers that I won't go through on this podcast because it'd be a little boring, but on the slides for conference to show you exactly how this maths, if you will, right? How it makes sense that if you just kept 5 customers for another 6 months, what that would look like. Not just the revenue actually produced, but the potential for referrals, upsells, all the other things around it. There's a massive potential to earn a lot more revenue,
right,
and mitigate churn just by sitting down with people. So it's not a coincidence that John, who has the best retention, also does the most accountability sessions.
Yeah, I mean, accountability sessions, I want to make this point, like, it's the prescription typically doesn't change, right? Like what we're going to get people to do, what accountability sessions is meeting that individual where they're at, because life changes and you're seeing what's going on with them. That's the difference, right? Again, I mentioned like travel schedules, this and that, maybe they had a new baby, they're getting engaged, whatever it is, it's tax season. It's not like the prescription changed, but it's in the accountability sessions is working with them, meeting them where they're at, which is important because I think people sometimes they think like, oh, I got to do all these different workout things. Like, no, that stuff's in place. We're going to do that consistently. I just need to figure out a way that you can consistently do that. And then it's outside stuff for like nutrition and stuff like that. But the more you do with that, the more you have your finger on the pulse of the business and you know what's going on with your customers, where you can be, more proactive than reactive, right? Meaning like, you know what's going on and you don't get like sideswiped by somebody's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to India for 3 months, right? Like if you don't know that, like you're losing already. But if we do this, we can get ahead of it. And that's how you have good retention.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, one of the stories that I'll tell about this is that I often tell at Discovery Day, which is Sharon Morris, who's been with us for nearly 30 years. Well, when she started working out with us, she was in her 50s.
Yep.
She owned a hospital consulting business, and, it was just a thriving, really good business. So she was traveling a whole bunch, and that's when she started with us, and she wanted to get into golf and a couple of other things. So we were training her. She was all in 3 days a week, she's done great. Well, somewhere along the line, she exits her business. Well, during that process, it's a bit distracting. So she maybe had to cut back 2 times a week for a while because she was tired and she was still traveling while trying to organize her business for sale, which is very distracting, right? Mm-hmm. Great. Then tragically, her husband, Pete, gets cancer after she exits her company. And, she cares for him for several years. Then he passes. Then she gets back on her feet. She starts another hospital consulting business and then ends up exiting that, right? Starts dating and then gets in a car accident, tears her rotator cuff. I mean, there's so many things that happen in someone's life in 3 decades. If you're not doing something, if you don't have a structure in place like an accountability session, it's going to be really hard to manage that. Because I can promise you, her life while caring for her husband who was dying from cancer didn't look anything like it did when she was running her hospital consulting business and everything was fine and rosy, right? So it's a different animal. We just appreciated the fact that she was making any time for herself during that time period. And if she could make it in 2 days a week, there was no homework. There was no get your steps in or whatever. She was getting hardly any sleep. She was stressed to the max. I mean, she's acting as a main caregiver for someone that she's been with her whole life. It's like very traumatic. So just showing up 2 days a week was all that we could ask of her. That, again, Pete tragically passes. She gets back on her feet, and then she's like, all right, I'm all in. I want to get back in shape. And so she's like, all right, great, 3 days a week. This is your main focus right now. Then we start coaching nutrition again. We get back on things to do outside the club, right? Then again, she gets in a car accident, tears her rotator cuff. It's like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to work on the other arm that still works, your core and your lower body, because we don't want to lose our progress there. We can work around. We'll work with your therapist, by the way, right? Yep. And make sure that we're doing things in the gym that don't disrupt your rehab. And so, again, it's also a good outreach, for a cross-marketing promotion. But anyway, point is, you're never going to keep people around for 30 years if you can't sit down with them periodically, talk about where they are in life, what's going on, and make a plan of attack for this season. That's a great word that you use, season. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think, to go on with your whole talk, you have to care enough about the person in front of you to help them, right? Versus like, say this person is struggling with all the crazy stuff that she had go on in her life, which, happens to a lot of people. If I came at you like, hey, why don't you come into your sessions? Why don't you get here? Like, what's wrong with you? Right. Versus like, what's going on? Like, I want to help you from a caring standpoint. That's the difference. Right. And then be able to read the room and then help them with their next step. Because people feel that.
Yeah.
That's why they.
Yeah. I mean, it's an old adage. I don't know who said it first, but I used to hear Mike Boyle say it all the time. I know he didn't say it first, but I've heard you say it a million times, which is people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So you're not going to have any influence over these people as a leader, and you are leading them on their health and fitness journey until they can viscerally feel that you give a crap about them. Yeah. And believe me, we're not at a point now, AI, not AI, automation, not whatever, all that stuff, nothing replaces a true human being sitting down in front of you that really sees you and you know it. Right? Sure. That's the most powerful thing we can do.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, I would venture to say most people know they need to exercise, and most people know they should eat better, right? It's finding out really what's going on, the why that they're not doing that, and I care enough to help you get through that.
Right, like let me manage the things, the blocks, the roadblocks, or the mental blocks that you have that are keeping you from starting something that there's nobody out there these days. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine pulling man on the street and being like, "Hey, is exercise good for you? Is eating better good for you?" They're all going to say, yeah. The reason they're not doing it's not because they lack information.
Right.
They lack help on structuring it into their life and working around their emotions and their, their schedules and all the things that you can help manage for them, right? That's your job. That's the main job of a personal trainer, I think. I mean, anybody, I mean, look, man, anybody can deliver great workouts. We talked about it earlier on this podcast. Take me out in the parking lot. Best workouts in town. Great. What does that even mean, right? Mm-hmm. Very few people can care enough to sit down with somebody and be seen, which is what everybody in life wants, workouts or not, right? Be listened to, really listening, and then applying what they're giving you back in something that is, manageable, digestible, and it's specific to them, right? Yeah. It's taking the same tools that we all have in an alloy and applying them to that person at this point in time based on what they need specifically. Sometimes too, Matt, it's not even necessarily the effectiveness of the advice. And what comes to mind is
the Kathy story.
I was about to say, so I'm going to talk about that, but I would like, since you're not going to be on stage with me, you can't, but I would love you to tell that story here.
Yeah. So, I mean, this person, Kathy, love her to death. This is just a prime example of I was there in this person's life, holding them accountable and just trying to help them what she wanted, what her goals were. And then I remember she had a goal of weight loss. So after we got her consistent in the studio, which is our first step with everybody, right? I was like, hey, it's not world changing. Let's get you moving. We get you in here to your 2-3 days a week. We did that. And then we continually had accountability sessions every month. And that typically evolves for a lot of folks into talking about nutrition.
Right.
So I can honestly say that I tried everything under the sun because, nutrition, there's a million different ways to help somebody.
All
right?
of them work if you do them.
Yeah, I mean, all of them work, right? Calorie, tracking your calorie intake with MyFitnessPal or, taking pictures of it or writing it down or
eat more protein or whatever.
I'm going to call you when you eat, whatever. Like we try all the things. But I remember this going on for 6-7 months. And I even at one point, I think I was on the whiteboard and I'm writing stuff down and she's like, man, thank you. But it goes on for 6 or 7 months and body composition wise, she absolutely changed, right? She got more muscle, she lost body fat. But the thing, one of the goals she had was lose weight, which as that's got to happen in the hours that she's not with me, what she's eating, consuming, et cetera. Well, it goes on long enough and she doesn't, she never loses the weight while she's here. But she literally tells me, she's like, hey, Matt, I just really thank you so much for trying. I really appreciate you trying to help me out. And I'm sorry I let you down. and she stayed for ever. I mean, she's
7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, I mean, for forever.
Until she moved.
But that's she truly just appreciated and, because I cared so much and I wanted to help her succeed. Even though we maybe not hit all the goals that she wanted, she loved that piece. And that's why she stayed.
Yeah, unreal. I mean, it's so funny that she's apologizing to you because she literally just can't follow. It's just not happening for her. She's not all the strategy. She's like, yeah, I get it. But I'm just not doing it. So, yeah. But here's what I appreciate: the fact that every month you're really, you're investing in me, and plus you're also mature enough, and we have to be as fitness professionals not to take offense to that. I've always been perplexed by the fitness coach or the trainer that's I only want to work with serious people who are serious about their goals. I'm like, all right, well, that's 3 people in the whole world, right?
They have 0 clients.
Right, exactly. Yeah, how's that business of yours going? Not well, right? So just keep in mind, one thing that I also hear, beyond the fact that you cared enough every month to show up, the reason you did that, though, is you also didn't take it personally. It wasn't like you said, oh, well, Kathy's not following my advice, so I'm not even going to waste my time with her. And right. I that's sort of an attitude that I hear sometimes from coaches. What's the point in me pouring into you if you're not going to follow my advice? It's well, she might have. And let's just zoom out and listen to what you just said. It's not about you as the person sitting there. Mm-hmm. It's your job to pour into this person. It's their job to execute on your plan of attack. And if that doesn't work, you give them another plan of attack. But here's an example of someone who you tried every plan of attack. She recognized that and was thanking you for your effort and never left. Mm-hmm. She was basically saying, in so many words, I'm never going to do any of the things you want me to do, Matt. It's really cute, but I really appreciate the fact that we get to meet every month and you really try to help me. You'd never once were like, well, I'm not doing this anymore. She doesn't take me seriously. She's wasting my time. She stayed for 7, maybe, I don't know how long she stayed, almost a decade, I believe. Just because we cared about her. You tell me she was less healthy because of that? Just because she didn't follow all your advice and get into bikini shape or something? Let's be real. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
She stayed for a long time and was way healthier than she would have been without you, what other brand would have been able to keep her around? Like she goes and joins a class-based concept and they barely know your name. Right. There's zero chance she's sticking with that, right? Mm-hmm. Stuck around for that long because she knew that you cared. That's all. Even if she couldn't take your advice, she just knew that you cared.
100%. I'm still here for you, Kathy, if you need it.
That's right. Kathy, if you're listening, come see us. We still love you. Any other examples you can think of? I've got a couple more examples, but I think they'll probably be better for part 3. But when I asked you, hey, I need some fodder for conference, you were like, God, I've done so many accountability sessions. It's like, you're like, it could go in a million directions. So overall, just give me like some of the outcomes that you've seen. Doesn't have to be specific, but what are situational applications of an accountability session, and what have the results been?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a series of things. We always talk about putting poles in the ground. Like I told you yesterday, we discussed is, like.
Can you explain that concept again, just in case somebody's missed that?
Yeah, so I mean, like everything we do, it's purposeful to take care of the customer and show them support and care, right? So like even from a starting point session perspective, yeah, that is a sales appointment, if you will. But it's still built to build a relationship, build trust, and to get this person going in the right direction. So that like first session, believe it or not, will contribute to your retention, right? Because the better you do there, the more influence you will have over this person, the more trust they have in you to continually help them with the next step. So I want to say that, and then it's a bunch of poles in the ground from just like what we do in personal training. I could almost describe it as just like a million tiny follow-ups. Like say I sign you up, I'm checking in with you after the SPS. 2, I'm checking in with you after your first workout, your first week. I meet you for an accountability session every 30 days. But me being aware and constantly knowing what's going on in your life will contribute to how well you do, right? Because my job is to help you navigate whatever this is. So accountability sessions, we talked about kind of the beginning, it can go in a million different ways, but at the end of the day, you're helping that person with whatever's going on in their life to continue working out and being healthy. Because again, everybody knows they need it. They just need some help to how they're going to do it, right? How do I do it if I'm a single mom and I don't, I have 2 kids and I got to go before and after work? Well, it's my job to help you figure that out. How do I eat better with that? Say if I have somebody with an injury that's like, I don't know how to do this by myself. I got you. That's my job. I'm going to coach to the team like, hey, this is what we're doing in your workouts to take care you're safe. But it's all of that. It's not always just done in one appointment. It's a continuous effort of just doing that. And like, I don't have any more specific examples because it's just kind of what we do all the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just mainly like a lens that you put on how you approach the business.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and even to back up a step further, the poles in the ground, the analogy, which Matt talks about a lot, is basically like if there's a above ground power line and you look at it, they have to put a pole in the ground every so often, and you see the power line, it's at its peak when it's attached to the pole. And then as it works its way over to the next pole, there's like a sag in the line, right? Not a big one, but a little bit of a sag. Mm-hmm. If you space the poles too far apart, what would happen? Well, the line would touch the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And that would be catastrophic. So what we're talking about here is an example of the pole in the ground is every now and then a customer needs what we would describe as an uplift, right? So what Matt was, the slang he uses for that is like, we got to put some more poles in the ground, which means like that power line's getting too low. It's been too long since there's been a customer uplift, right? Mm-hmm. Accountability sessions are a massive customer uplift. So like put some more poles in the ground, right? Stay in front of your customers, and you need to methodically and consistently put a customer uplift behavior into their experience in your facility over the long haul. That has to be done. You got the clients who don't want the accountability sessions, or you take them for granted because they're good ambassadors and they've been coming in 3 days a week, and you don't even ask them if they want an accountability session. Huge mistake. Sometimes just the asking of like, hey, it's the new year. Matt, you got any goals this year we want to work on? You're like, bro, I am good. Like, leave me alone. Just the question alone is a pole in the ground, if you want to think about that analogy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That has to be done, right? I might use that. I didn't use that for conference. So hopefully when you listen to this after, I actually talked about that.
It's very
but yeah, but it's a great analogy. And I love the fact that it's like, listen, an uplift before we touch the ground, like let's give them another uplift, and accountability session is a great way to do it. I think we'll leave it at that. It's just one of the things that we offer that's unique. It has to be done. We've got so much proof, even in our current franchise, the guy with the number one retention, not coincidentally, does the most accountability sessions. So if you're in Alloy, this is a structured session. There's plenty of information about it in the manual. Matt's going to teach you about it. Do it, because if you do it, it's going to result in more retention. And if you don't hate making money, it's going to help a lot of people. And by the way, it's also going to help you make a lot of money. So
Love it.
nothing wrong with that. All right, brother. Appreciate it. We'll catch up for parts 3 and 4.
Perfect.
All right.